Big Fight Live is back. British boxing star Josh Kelly continues his world title pursuit.
And he stops it!
Against Argentina's Lucas Bastida.
This is a future world champion.
In a battle for the WBO International Super Welterweight crown. Don't miss all the action as championship boxing returns live in The Big Fight Live, Kelly vs. Bastida, Saturday at 10 on Channel 5.
This is Matt for Into Boxing, delighted for the first time to be joined by St George Groves. George, first off, before we start talking about the boxing, how's retired life treating you?
Yeah, really good, really good. I'm enjoying it. It's nice to have a bit more freedom and a little less discipline.
What's been the best thing about being retired? Is it not having to make weight, cutting diet? What's the best thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I get to spend loads of time with my family now. I've got 2 young kids. I'm a co-parent with my wife, so you know, I'm there when I wake up in the morning. I can do the school drops. I can be there to put them to bed at night, and I cherish that time now. I cherish that moment. I love it. Boxing is tough and it's all in. Like you have to live and breathe it every second. And I feel like for me in the end, after 10 years as a professional, but it was 20 years as a fighter in my brain, trying to live to the bone. You know, it's nice to relax a little bit. You know, I can come up here and cover the boxing for Channel 5, and I ain't got to worry about getting to bed on time, or you know, trying to get the 10 hours sleep in, or you know, wondering what, if anything, I can eat, and being hungry and miserable and shit like that. So no, it's nice to sort of a lot more freedom.
Has there been any second thoughts? Because it must be hard. I imagine when you come to these shows, and especially some of the big ones, when you see like a Fury White at Wembley, and you know that you've boxed there, do you get that itch and think, is it worth having a dabble at something at all?
Not for me right now, to be honest, because like as I say, boxing's all in. Like, and for me, I wouldn't say I was like a perfectionist, but if you're going to do it, you want to do it right. Exactly. So there's no point in me, you know, I don't want to put that 100% effort in. I don't want to miss the kids. Like I don't want to miss my wife. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to go on a diet. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be calorie deficient and sweating and hot, bothered and not sleeping well and all that stuff that goes with boxing. And if I ain't going to do it properly and I ain't going to be 100%, then for me it's just like, you know. But I get my boxing fix, as I say, I'm here at the shows, and then I go to my amateur club whenever I can. Most Sunday mornings I'm down there training the young guys and girls down there, and so that keeps my eye in. I've got to be relatively fit to not just demonstrate what I'm asking them to do, but just in case they go
demonstration.
They take them down the hills. And like, I won't do the full 10 laps, but I might run the last one and keep them on their toes. But so yeah, you got to have some sort of reasonable level of fitness and mobility and strength. So for me, that's more than enough. I'm very happy with that.
I was going to say, a lot of fighters when they retire, you can sort of get a feeling. Like for instance, when Tyson says, "I'm having enough," I look and think, there's probably another couple. He may come back. Not that I'm doubting what he says, but with you do seem content, which is good to see. Right, let's talk about some big fights that are coming up. Rumoured, but more or less everyone's saying that it's going to happen, is Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr, a guy you've shared the ring with. From your point of view, how does that fight play out stylistically? I know a lot of emphasis will be on the weight, potential rehydration clause, but if they do fight, which we hear is going to happen, what happens? What do you think?
I think it's a step too far for Conor Benn, to be honest. Like I think he's a great fighter. He's made tremendous improvement. He's knocking on the door now for world level in his weight division. But the problem is that that Eubank Jr is a middleweight, you know, and has competed at super middleweight. When I was preparing for him, his dad was telling me that he's going to go up to light heavyweight. So
he said a lot, didn't he, around that time?
But they say an awful lot, and you know, you have to respect the weight divisions. We've seen recently with Alvarez versus Bivol, where you know, big beats little in that respect. You know, Bivol had exceptionally good fighter, like an amazing fighter, but came in with discipline and beat him on size. And then when Alvarez, the shots that would usually buzz and hurt the guys in front of him, he just bounced off Bivol because he's just naturally bigger and stronger and used to taking those shots. Yeah. This might be the same with Ben Eubank. Yeah. So if there is some sort of weird catch weight and it's a struggle for Eubank and he has to adhere to a rehydration clause. Again, that's I don't know. What do we get out of that? Is it he's physically weakened, so we might get he's handicapped, so we might get a closer fight? For me, that's dangerous. So I'm a big believer in hydration manipulation is not a clever thing to do. It's a dangerous thing to do. This is where all the injuries come from in boxing, and so I'm not a fan of that. And I just think I can see why Eubank wants it. I can see why this fight's taken so long to make. It's because there's going to be issues about the weight. Conor Benn, he's got the right attitude. He'll fight anyone. So that's great to have as a fighter. The other people around him looking after him, sort of rein him in a little bit at times. But this is a huge fight. Obviously, the two big names. Conor's on a great run of form. DAZN's launched and they've got behind Ben as their big number one fighter, and this might be the fight that they want, that they think is going to launch their platform a little bit further. So I don't know. Who knows? It's hard to predict. But on the outside, the talk just doesn't. I just think there's much more in it for Eubank than there is there for Ben. He's going to be too big.
Have you noticed a change in Chris from when he fought you to then bringing Roy Jones on as a permanent trainer? Obviously, a lot of people were saying he was trying to almost mimic Roy in certain things he was trying to do. Have you seen an improvement in him and a change or anything at all that suggests that he's become a better fighter since you fought?
If I'm truly honest, I don't think so. I think he was on a great run of form leading up to the fight with me. He's just finding his feet. He felt like he was running the show. He was headlining pay-per-view ITV shows. He beat Arthur Abraham, and then he had a great win against Avni Yildirim, where he blasted him out in a couple of rounds. And then the hype was around him. We went into a fight against me. He was the heavy favourite, and I beat him. I beat him on skill and size. And I think after that fight, he had to go back to the drawing board, and it's taken a while. Obviously we've had disruptions in boxing because of the pandemic. He might have only boxed once throughout the pandemic. Since then he's come back and he got the win over Liam Williams, which was a good win. Yeah. Williams is a good fighter, but he had a size advantage there as well. And I haven't quite seen anything that makes you think he's more of a force than when he boxed me. When he boxed me, he had that confidence and that backing. I think he's that sort of fighter. When you get that behind him, he's much more dangerous than not. The Jones stuff will be great, but it will take years for that to bed in. Yeah. If I'm honest, because they're totally different fighters. They work totally different. It has to be someone of Roy Jones' status and who's accomplished the things that he's got to command juniors respect and get his ear and listen and do what's asked of him. But it will take a while to settle in and then find a way to make that his own. Yeah. But he's doing well. He's winning. What more can you ask?
Absolutely. Right, let's come on to another big fight. Anthony Joshua, Oleksandr Usyk. I'm sure many people have asked you, so sorry if this is becoming a bit repetitive, but a lot of variables in this fight. AJ's trying to bounce back again from a one-sided defeat. Brought on a new trainer in Robert Garcia, very attacking. What do you see the outcome of this fight? And is the adage of this new trainer, can that have the effect on Anthony between now and the fight to really sort of show him the improvements and to get the victory?
I think it can definitely make a big improvement. It should do. That's the reason you do it. He'll be exposed to a totally different mentality around boxing. It's a different way to look at it. He'll be asked to be doing different stuff. No doubt, if he's talking about being a bit more aggressive, then he's got to sit on his shots a bit more, which should suit him. Yeah. I think Usyk. I had a hunch that Usyk would beat him the first time. The question marks was always going to be around the size, but he done a great job on Derek Chisora when Usyk boxed Chisora. He weathered Chisora's onslaught for the first couple of rounds and then just box his head off, and then ultimately I think he did stop him in that fight. Almost stopped Joshua in the first fight, and I think he'll be better in the rematch. I think he's that sort of fighter who just keeps making those improvements. There's concerns that obviously between fights he's been to Ukraine and there's troubles in his country, but there's been troubles in his country probably longer than he's been professional. He boxed Gasayev in Russia while Russia was at war with Ukraine. They took over Crimea like 11 years ago or something. So, I mean, I'm not bang up to date with my politics and history, but it just goes to show that Usyk's that sort of fighter. He's always boxed away from home. He's never boxed in Ukraine. He'll go to other people's backyards and beat them and take their belts, and then go to the next one, do the same time and time again. So I don't think he has a problem travelling. He certainly doesn't have a problem backing himself. I think you check people's demeanours before a fight, how they're coming across, and he's usually very laughy, jokey, happy, and this time he's a lot bit more serious, but he can't be happy and laughy and jokey when his country's sort of on the news all day, every day about getting bombed. So that might, not saying that's a facade or that, but that's what he wants to portray. But I'm sure it's still business as usual for him behind the scenes, and Joshua has to have a totally different change of style for this fight. He has to sit on his shots a lot more. He has to, dictate with the jab and then land some heavy shots and control. He preferably wants to get a really good start as well and build into the fight. We have to wait and see. It still is in some ways Joshua's fight to lose. He's got the natural size. He's got great power. He's boxed at the highest level. He's got it. He's got all the attributes to win. But Usyk is the favourite, rightly so, and I can't see him coming unstuck, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Right, just a couple more. Jake Paul, I need to ask you about this, and ask everyone. What do you make of him? He's going up against a professional fighter now, who's 12 fights, one defeat. Admittedly, the defeat came in that person's last fight, but what do you make of him as a professional boxer, as that type of professional boxer? What do you think he's doing? Is he good for boxing because he's bringing the eyes to the sport? Do you think it's a mockery? What's your opinion on him?
He's good enough for the sport. He trains like a professional. He doesn't dab in and out like other YouTubers or other. He tells everyone he's a professional boxer, and he trains like a professional boxer. He's got the funding. He's got the staff. He's in these high-profile fights, and sure, you'll be jealous of it because he hasn't had to work like everyone else. But
through the amateurs and all that. Yeah.
But that's the way it is, and he will be given gifts. That's the way it goes. He's fighting Usyk Jr, who is a name. He's a name because his dad knocked out Lennox Lewis. But if you asked anyone in the UK, when was the last time you watched Usyk Jr fight, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ranked with any of the governing bodies. He's way down on his box rec achievements, obviously, because he's got that loss against him. I think the WBC are sanctioning this fight.
Apparently, it gets him a ranking, I think, which just come out. What do you make of that? Are people going, oh, he's been near here 2 minutes and now he's getting a ranking? But then they said, well, actually, people have fought a lot lesser standard of opponent and been given rankings before. Agree with that?
It's a publicity stunt. That's what the sanctioning bodies have to do. They have to stay relevant. They have to be at the top. It's a clever move from the WBC. Yeah. Logically, I don't think it's good enough to be a ranked fight, especially if it's at heavyweight. Is he getting ranked at heavyweight or is he getting ranked at cruiserweight? What are they fighting at? Yeah. I'm not sure. So that's interesting. But I wouldn't say it's wouldn't be bending over backwards saying it's the best thing for boxing, because ultimately there's only so many pay-per-view dates you can have in a year, and if one of them is going to a YouTuber and not a hard, diligent, professional fighter who's worked his way up, then he's been robbed of that chance. The long-term ramifications of it will be that if you're 16 years old and you want to be a professional boxer, you're like, which route do I go? Do I go the conventional route, try and win the junior ABAs, senior ABAs, go and box for my country, go to the Olympics, or should I start a YouTube channel? And then if I can get to 1 million subscribers, I'll get to that world title arc much quicker. So where do you put your efforts?
It's crazy, isn't it, though, when you look at it and you see these YouTuber and TikToker events, because they bring money, they bring serious money and views, but it's like these fighters have worked from amateur and never sometimes get that, even when they get to a world title. It's strange, isn't it?
It's fun, yeah, but I mean that's the world we live in. That's boxing. Boxing is the Wild West. Anyone can, if Jake Paul says he wants to play for Man City next week, and you go,
get him on as a sub.
You get him on, but you ain't gonna. That one's gonna be interesting because he's fucking useless if he's useless for football. But boxing, you don't really have to adhere to any standard. You can evenly match the fights, and two donkeys can make a derby, and away you go. And he's better. He's better than a white collar fighter. He's never going to be elite. He's just that's not him. But if two celebrities are going to fight each other, could be absolutely anyone who's going to want to watch it.
And I have to say, to be fair to him, and do give him his credit as well, he's in a proper training camp, takes himself away, and seems to be doing it properly from the outside looking in. So we'll go for that. Look, final one from me, because I know I said I'd keep you 10 minutes and we're 15. Carl Froch, I never once, when you retired, thought you two would sort of be across the table talking about old times and stuff like that. It looks like you fairly get on well with him. What's that relationship like now that you've hung the gloves up? You get on with him?
Yeah, we get on, me and Carl. Yeah, we get on really well. He's all right. When you're not in camp trying to punch his head off, he's all right.
You having a bit of laughing and joke with him about them times?
No, not really about the times, because that's when it gets. We get into it on the show. So if you're lucky enough to get to one of the shows, we do the arc of the rivalry, and then we still can't let it go. He'll tell everyone he was about to stop me in the first fight. I'm ready to chin him there and then. I was like, absolutely not. But there's that mutual respect there. We're both ex-fighters. We didn't have too many gifts in our career. We had a few, but we knew we had to work hard for what we got, and there's mutual respect there for that. And
you were good for each other, weren't you?
Well, yeah, definitely. So his career ended, where my profile sort of took off, and then from there, my journey starts in terms of winning a world title at the full extent. Yeah. So and. I believe when he says it, he was genuinely happy for me to finally get there in the end, and then once I got there in the end, I could finally be happy for him for everything he done. So it kind of worked out quite well. Yeah, exactly.
If an opportunity came where they said, "Look, we know you're out the ring. Those exhibition fights are happening now; they're becoming more common. For you and him to have a little move round, would the door be open for a chat?"
I'd speak to Carl first in confidence. Say, what do you think? Do you know what I mean? And we've got a 10-year anniversary coming up next year.
What do you think he'd say?
I think we'd try and franchise it. Let's go on tour with it, like we're doing. We're doing tours with the talking, but we could have a fight every other week, maybe. We go up and down the country. It doesn't need to be Wembley stadiums. We could fight in
of 80,000.
Well, yeah, 80,000. We can do 800. We do arenas of 800. If people want to come and see me and Cole throw fists, might be able to sell a few more tickets. Who knows? Might catch on. But
I'm pretty sure it'd catch on like wildfire.
Yeah, it could be good fun. But only Cole. I don't think I could get back in gym for anyone else. But Cole, yeah, definitely, he'll be up for it as well. We'll see how we go.
I mean, I really hope that happens. But look, George, thanks very much for giving Into Boxing some of your time. I'll let you crack on with the rest of your evening. Appreciate it.
No worries.